and welcome to May. It's the first week of a new month, and that means it's time to make another card to hang in our little frame based on an inspirational word. This was last month's. This was the word hope. I have a playlist with all the previous cards in this series if you want to go and check that out, and it's got all the details of the IKEA frame that I've used. And as always, I have a template to create a card the size that I need to fit in the frame, and that's 5¼ inches by 3¼ inches across. And I punched 2 little holes in it so that it'll fit on the book rings and hang in there. And just to begin with, I've got a bit of cardstock here today. It's slightly larger. I'll trim it down to fit. And I'm using alcohol inks today, so this is some glossy cardstock. This is from Creative Expressions here in the UK, but it's a gloss cardstock suitable for use with alcohol inks. The word that I've chosen for May is creative, so I'm going to get creative with my alcohol inks and create a colourful sort of abstract design, do some doodling on it. I've got a couple of pens. This is a Unipen fine liner 0.5 and my Uniball Signo Broad in white, my favourite white pen. You could use Posca paint pens if you've got some fine ones, they would work fine. Sharpies, I believe, will work as well. But this is what I'm using, this is what I like. And when I come to put the word on, because I want the word creative, I'm going to use it from this set here, from Visible Image. They're just separate words, so I'm just going to stamp that one word, cut it out and put it on the finished piece. So, as I say, to start with, I've got my piece of glossy cardstock, I've got a selection of alcohol inks, I've got a little stylus because I want to make some very small dots, and I'll just decant a little bit of ink into a palette and use the stylus. But to begin with, I'm just going to be using the inks direct from the bottle to create some circles onto my card. So the colours I'm using today are Sunshine Yellow and Flamingo, Watermelon and Valencia, and I've also got Mermaid and Pistachio. You can use whatever colours you like. I just fancied some nice, bright, colourful. It's spring here, and I'm creating almost like an abstract floral design, so that's why I've gone for some nice bright colours. So to begin with, I'm just going to create some dots of colour, working in a sort of diagonal design. Because this is going to be the base, this is my florals. And don't worry if the colours bleed. I like the effects of alcohol inks. It's very unpredictable. You don't quite know what's going to happen. So, don't try and control it. Just embrace it and enjoy it. So now I want to add some smaller dots of the 2 green colours. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of each colour of the pistachio and the mermaid just into my palette here. And this is just a metal ball tool, an embossing tool. But it's quite useful for creating just smaller dots. And these are going to be, in effect, our leaves. So I'm pretty happy with that. Just going to clean the ink off my ball tool there, so that's clean for the next time I use it. And I can move the alcohol inks out of the way now. We've finished with those. Shouldn't take too long to dry, but we do need it to be dry before we go on to do the next part with the doodling with the pens. So I'm just going to set it aside for a second, stamp out my word, and then that'll be dry and we can get on with it. So I've popped my stamp onto an acrylic block. I'm going to stamp it with a clear ink and then heat emboss with a black embossing powder. Just, you know, because the glossy cardstock is shiny and the embossing powder again gives a nice shiny raised effect. So just inking up the word that I need. This is just an offcut of my glossy cardstock. Pressing down. This is going to be cut out, so if there's any excess, it doesn't matter, it can soon be cleared away. Just pop it on a scrap of card to catch my embossing powder. And then we can just cut that out, ready to put on our finished piece. And now that this is completely dry, it's time to have fun with our pens. And really, you know, as the word creative suggests here, just sit, use your imagination, have fun, and doodle some designs onto our abstract florals here. Once you're happy with the design, all you need to do is just let that dry. The white pen, if you're using one of these Signo gel pens, just needs a little time just to dry because it's sitting on the surface. And as soon as that's dry, I can just now trim it down to fit into my frame and put my word on. And here it is, trimmed to fit. I've stuck my sentiment on with a little bit of 3D foam just to raise it up off the surface. I've put a couple of little ring reinforcers. As always, I use this We Are Memory Keepers punch. Just punched some ring reinforcers out of black card and glued them on. I just think it finishes it off nicely. And I hope you enjoyed this. All I've got to do now is pop it into my frame. Another really easy technique for creating something nice with your alcohol inks. And everybody loves to sit and doodle. We've all got a black pen, we've all got a white pen. And it just adds a little extra something to your finished piece, makes it unique. So I'll get this, pop it into my frame, and then I'll show you a couple of photographs at the end. Hope you enjoyed this. As always, leave me a thumbs up if you did. Love to read your comments, so if you've got any comments and suggestions, please leave those below and I'll try and get back to you over the next week or so. But for now, bye.